what is prayer? So this is going to be my attempt to answer that question for Theo's ongoing series of questions for atheists and those critical of Christianity. I see prayer taking two overarching forms. There's going to be the sort of the conscious form of prayer, the intentional prayer, I'll say, and then there's unintentional prayer. And that's my contention that intentional prayer at its core is an extension of unintentional prayer. And I'll talk about that later on. So intentional prayer, there's the ritual of prayer, where you've seen Muslims and Catholics are commonly in this category, where they go through the actual ritual of prayer. They say they do the proper actions with the proper words in the proper manner, and ideally they have the correct mindful state of thinking to do it properly. So there's the ritual of prayer. Then there's the type of prayer that is the expression of thankfulness. I know in animism, when a hunter in a primitive animistic society, when they kill an animal, they first of all express gratitude to the spirit of the animal that gave of itself, and they make assurances to the spirit of the animal that it will be used wisely, that they'll try to use as much of it as they can, and that its sacrifice to them was not a waste, that they'll use it in a mindful fashion. And then on top of that, they ask for forgiveness for the act of killing this animal, due to the fear that the spirit of the animal might come back and sabotage future hunts. And then, if we extend that to Christianity, we express thankfulness for the benevolence of the deity, for providing us with the bounty we see before us, whether that be food, or we express thankfulness for the health and safety of our friends and family members. There's also the intercessionary prayer, where we ask for the deity or the spirits to intercede on our behalf for the well-being of ourselves or others that we know either directly or indirectly through other people. And that's extremely common, I've found. And then finally, there's the darker version of that, the imprecatory prayer, imprecation, basically, where you ask the spirits or the deity to send harmful effects on others, which apparently Christians don't have any problem with in certain sects. It's functionally black magic, I guess you would say. Asking for harm to be done to other people on your behalf. So those are what I see as the conscious forms of prayer. Now let's talk about the unconscious. Who hasn't, when driving, maybe experienced an accident, maybe an automobile accident or some other sort of calamity where you did not have control of the situation, and at that moment, unconsciously, it just comes from within. You sort of throw out a question to the universe. That question is, why me? Why now? Something in that regard. But it's not something that you have any rational control over. And it's my contention that at its heart, that is one of the heuristic processes that we use unconsciously. That's not something we have rational control over. It is in our tendency to anthropomorphize the forces of the universe and the universe itself that we enter a negotiation with the universe, and we make an appeal to change our fate, even though it's fruitless. But the fact of the matter is, at some point in the past, one of our ancestors, this has been hardwired in because it is successful in some regard, or possibly it could be a spandrel. Maybe it is. I'm sure it is a spandrel, actually. That this act of fruitless, negotiation is a side effect of some other functionality, but I don't know what that is. I would have to give this a lot more thought and do a lot more research and maybe do some psychological studies or anthropological studies to figure out whether this is truly beneficial in and of itself, or whether it is a side effect of some other factor. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. This is just off the top of my head, so feel free to savage me as you feel best.